G'day guys and gal. If there is one awesome thing that has been neglected in Warhammer 40k's lore, it's the Legion of the Damned. All their official models are old as shit, their lore and origins are confusing and contradictory, and their true nature is unclear. But flaming loyalist demon space marines that pop out of nowhere to kick ass is always a joy to read about. Everyone loves the Legion of the Damned after all, so I thought why not check out 5 of their greatest moments. Before we get started, we're at the halfway mark of the Burning Hand of Vengeance sale. The support on this model has been fantastic, as usual from you legends. I was actually in the warehouse this week to help out, and I can comfortably say that a fair number of you will be getting your Burning Hand before Christmas. We're staying well on top of things, which is awesome. For those that have been living under a rock, the Burning Hand of Vengeance is my magnum opus for 2024. It took a year to make as I worked closely with the legendary Art Canum, the modeler of the Big E, to make something truly special. This model features a shitload of head variants, multiple arm and weapon variants, and even includes a standalone and diorama version. The standalone might be better for tabletop, or if you just want a less busy model, whilst the diorama version is for when you want to scare your enemy or you just want to have something epic to paint. On top of that, the model comes in 4 different scales. The tabletop scale for your wargaming or army needs, the 75mm scale for those that just like painting and want to have larger details on the model to work with, the 112 bust scale for those that want a truly epic centerpiece, and then there's the legendary 1/6 scale, which is actually this one here for the psychos of you out there that want a limited edition collector's item. If you've been on the fence about this model, just trust me, it's something truly special, and I'm not sure if I'll ever bring it back after this week due to how challenging it is to produce. On top of that, I also had the 3 Sluzz Marines that are getting pounded in the diorama version made into their own models, with the Loud Marine being my favourite, but all 3 being incredible sculpts. Definitely a great way to get started on an Emperor's Children army. As a final note, there is only 24 hours left for the Major Minis Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, 30% off store-wide for all other minis, including the already discounted bundles. This is the cheapest Major Minis ever gets. I don't usually run sales because I price my minis what I believe to be a fair price, so now is a great time to dip the toes in and give it a go. We use premium high-res custom resin that is just as good if not better than plastic. All minis are scaled to tabletop proportions and are a fantastic way to start an army, enrich an existing army, or if you just want something awesome to paint. Link is below, only $10 shipping worldwide or free if you spend over $100. Today we'll go over the top 5 best Legion of the Damned moments in the lore. Yep, that's all you need to know. Let's get into it. Okay, so I wouldn't be a very good lore YouTuber if I didn't give a bit of context on the Legion first and why their lore is confusing. Firstly, they haven't been front and center for a while and their appearances are usually pretty random and don't contain much exposition. Most of their lore is old as hell as well, but basically there's 3 theories regarding what they actually are, with a technical 4th theory tying it all together that I'll quickly go over. Theory 1 is that the Legion of the Damned were once known as the Firehawks, a loyalist chapter who got lost in the warp. This caused them to be afflicted with this demonic warp contagion that turned them into these flaming undead warriors that could materialize at will. As the contagion gets worse and worse, eventually the warrior would enter a rage and then explode shortly after. Now obviously this doesn't sound like the most long-lived chapter, however some random lore that I don't know much about the details on detail a special warp device called the Animus Malorum, which can be used to turn Space Marines into Legion of the Damned Marines, which is how they maintain their numbers. But in saying that, generally warp contagions don't create elite warriors loyal to the Emperor. The warp isn't 100% controlled by chaos, but they do have a strong presence there, and it seems strange that a chapter of loyalist warp marines can travel to it and use it without issue. Theory 2 is that the Legion of the Damned are a psychic manifestation of the Emperor and mankind's belief. In its darkest hours, that belief is enough to force the warp to spew forth these flaming warriors to fight for the Imperium. The idea being that if each human psychic presence was a drop in the ocean, then the countless septillions or more humans across the galaxy would contribute enough to make shit like that happen, as well as the Emperor's own massive psychic might. This theory has the Legion of the Damned as loyalist demons. Then there is Theory 3, which is sort of disproven but also sort of not. During the war in the Webway, the Emperor was so fucking pissed off that his righteous wrath called out to the betrayed souls of Isvan, including Ferrus Manus himself, and summoned them forth in a wave of fire for them to do battle with an endless tide of demons. Although these fiery undead warriors would soon vanish as the Emperor left the Webway, many believe this planted the seed of the Legion of the Damned in the warp, which would grow and create the Legion using the souls of Imperial heroes who died unjustly. The writer of this scene said that whilst this wasn't intended on being the Legion of the Damned's origins, he loved the theory and would be happy for it to be canon. Theory 4, which is my personal favourite, is a mix of all the previous ones. The seed of the Legion was planted by the Emperor's righteous fury in the Webway, which was then grown by mankind's collective psychic might, and then when the Firehawks were lost in the warp, this pre-existing Legion of the Damned warp presence bonded with them, protecting them from chaos and turning them into loyalist demons. It is a bit of a head scratcher, but let's fuck off the confusing shit and go straight to the pew pew bang bang skirt skirt shit. The first epic moment of the Legion of the Damned in today's video is when they humiliated the Flawless Host, a chaos warband dedicated to Slaanesh. The Flawless Hosts were once a loyalist chapter called the Shining Blades, whose pride led to their fall. They targeted an adamantium mine to terrorize and massacre, as the people working in the mine were ugly, thus deserved death. I'm not joking, that was their justification. A regiment of guardsmen fought valiantly against the Flawless Host, every step of the way. However, these were drug-fueled space marines and guardsmen are guardsmen. However, the guardsmen' valiant efforts did not go unnoticed. Randomly, as the Flawless Host were setting up bombs all over the world with the plan of collapsing its industry and killing its populace, mysterious black armored space marines were materializing and fucking up the Flawless Host. In response, the Flawless Host summoned demons, which evened the odds, until those black armored warriors lit on fire, which was when the boss music started playing. The Flawless Host, even if they won an engagement, were now getting burnt and disfigured by holy warp flame, which made them ugly as hell, which they could not tolerate, so they left the planet and detonated the charges they put in. Yes, people did die, however those charges also unveiled a massive, previously undiscovered stockpile of adamantium, which tripled the world's output and allowed nearby loyalist space marine chapters to be equipped and restocked significantly faster than normal. Big brain move by the Legion of the Damned. The Legion doesn't just target chaos though. When the Tyranids invaded the planet of Godba, they were in for a rude reality check. See, the world was an experimental weapons world, full of unapproved or not yet properly tested weapons. Well, those weapons definitely got tested, as modified Baneblades, macro cannons, and more were unleashed. The Tyranids died in the millions, however slowly they began taking ground and destroying the Imperial defenders. As the world was about to fall, the defenders struck out one last time with their final tanks, only to have their tanks disabled from long-range Tyranid Jizz acid weapons. The brave defenders jumped out of their tanks, ready to die with pistol in hand, only to be shocked to see the Legion of the Damned surrounding them, acting as a defensive column. See, the Legion are pretty well suited for fighting Nids. They aren't organic, they don't have morale issues, their warp fire burns around them like an aura, and their bolt shells are like warp flame shells that explode. The Legion escorted the surviving defenders to a bunch of super heavy tanks called Doomhammers, whose previous occupants had been killed by lictors, allowing the tanks to roar back into life and turn the tide of battle, slaughtering the last remaining Nids. The pattern seems to be when Imperial warriors fight against all odds and show true bravery, the Legion of the Damned respect it and come to their aid. This next one is sick because it involves Malkador, and everything involving Malkador the hero is automatically awesome. A small force of Ultramarines, led by Chief Librarian Tigurius, were attempting to evacuate a number of tech priests from a world after they had discovered an ancient relic which appeared to be one of Malkador's own personal staves, imbued with knowledge, secrets, and a shard of his own power. However, the world had been getting cum-dumped by orcs. The final stronghold of the world, which housed the staff, was being overrun, with even the Ultramarines unable to turn the tide. They were prepared to stand and die in defense of Malkador's legacy, at which point the Legion of the Damned appeared and started turbo-fucking the orcs to death. Now, orcs love fighting and rarely have morale issues, unless the fighting very quickly becomes wildly unfun. Times like when Jagadai got mad and slaughtered orcs like a demon of the underworld, or when the Flesh Terrors got angry and ripped orcs apart limb from limb, are good examples of when the orcs stopped having fun. This was another example, as the Legion's aura burnt the orcs whilst their flaming death bolts delivered horrific ends to others. The orcs' morale broke and the tide of battle turned. Malkador's staff was taken by Tigurius, who still looks after it to this very day. Perhaps the Legion's appearance was driven by the Emperor's own will, sensing a shard of his only true friend and wanting to protect it. The Ultramarines were also going to do a sick last stand, which the Legion of the Damned also love. If I had $1 for every time there was an extremely random demonic incursion upon the Phalanx, the mega flagship of the Imperial Fist, I'd be rich as fuck. That ship gets fucked by demons more than retarded simps get fucked by crypto scam rug pulls. Just before Abaddon's 13th Black Crusade, it happened again. The Iron Warriors managed to emerge from a warp rift deep within the Phalanx and invade it alongside a host of demons. Their goal was to take over the Phalanx's main guns and then fire upon the Imperial Palace. Now, the palace is shielded, but the Phalanx has more firepower than an entire subsector battle group, and it was anchored above Terra. The Imperial Fist fought hard but were going to lose their ship, so to protect Terra, they did an emergency warp jump. They were now in the warp, invaded by demons. Not good. However, there are other things that live in the warp, such as the Legion of the Damned, who came on board the ship and purged the demons and traitor invaders alike, saving the Phalanx. They then directed it to Cadia to try prevent the fall of Cadia and defeat Abaddon's Black Crusade. Talk about coming in clutch. In this instance, I think it was either the Legion or the Emperor being like, fuck me, we cannot lose the Phalanx. And with it being in the warp, it was just a quick hop, skip, and a jump for the Legion to get on board. The final cool moment isn't really a singular moment, but it's their current status in the galaxy since the opening of the Great Rift. As I've said before, when the Great Rift opened, it wasn't just good for chaos. The orcs can now easily travel to almost any war zone, the Emperor is awakening from all the warp energy, and even the Eldar seem to have been boosted by it, as evidenced by Yened. For the Legion of the Damned, more warp energy in the galaxy means more opportunity for them to materialize and potentially even recruit Marines faster. This is evidenced by the current Noctis Eterna event, a massive crusade of the Legion of the Damned Marines who are materializing all over the galaxy. They appeared on Baal, Armageddon, Antigonus, and it says 100 more worlds. For that to happen, there has to be thousands of them active, instantly warping between war zones where previously they would only appear once every few centuries in very low numbers. So with the Great Rift open, we should start seeing more of the Legion. Wink wink, hint hint, GW give us some fucking Legion of the damn minis, or maybe I will. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Burning Hand of Vengeance, the sickest model of 2024. 1 week left. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more damned content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.